Um, all right, let's get started here. We are going to be playing 2015's Bloodborne, developed by From Software, the one and only. Um, Kicking off my Mensis Mondays series, my inaugural series for this channel. Let me just pull up my notes here. Because I have some like kind of specific stuff that I want to do with this series. Um, I think I've said this before, but in other venues, but the kind of impetus for this is to share Bloodborne, a game that I love, with people who, for various reasons, probably won't experience it themselves, either because they don't really like playing Soulsborne games, or because it's a console exclusive and you just don't have the console or whatever. Um, it's also crucially going to be a non-blind playthrough, but I don't want to. I feel like there are kind of like broadly two types of Bloodborne playthroughs. The first is the blind playthrough where a streamer goes in, doesn't know what's going on, kind of plays through the game, and the way anybody might the first time through, not really knowing what the hell's going on. Um, I think most blind playthroughs kind of like fall apart, at least streams um, fall apart at some point though, because there's just there's a lot of stuff that if you really try to avoid, um, you know, talking to friends or diving into wikis or whatever, you'll just miss completely. That's probably true of all Souls games, at least FromSoft Souls games, but especially Bloodborne. I mean, I don't think there's any way you would get anything but kind of the default end unless you were really, really perceptive. If you're not talking to people or reading wikis or whatever. Um, so I wanna like bring all of what I know about the game from having played it before and having done all the wiki legwork and talking to friends and stuff like that. Um, but still not spoil things. So if you haven't played these games before, I might emphasize certain things at certain points, draw your attention to things that might not present themselves very strongly at first. Um, but I'm not going to spoil things, and I don't want to. That's kind of like I want it to be like a guided tour through the game, more so than either a blind playthrough, or what I was going to say is the other way to play it is you're replaying it and you kind of assume that most people have played it before and you're not careful about spoilers or anything. You're kind of just talking about the game as a whole from the beginning. I want to avoid doing that too. Um, the other thing that I kind of want to do is, again, there's kind of two ways to approach this game. This is more on the YouTube side. I feel like there's gameplay videos and then there's lore videos. Um, gameplay, you're pretty much exclusively focused on the moment to moment gameplay. You don't read a lot of item descriptions. You don't talk about the lore that much, or maybe you just assume that people know the lore and you gesture towards that body of knowledge, but you don't really talk about it that much. And then you have your lore analysis videos where maybe there's some gameplay in the background, but the focus of those videos is much more so on the dense lore, reading lots of item descriptions, and that's like the focus. And I kind of want to try to um, find a line, or like thread the needle between those two things. I want to be paying attention to lore, reading item descriptions, talking through all that stuff. But obviously, it's going to be a gameplay. We're playing the game. I want to see if I can walk that line there. Uh, and what that looks like ultimately, I don't know exactly. If maybe something I've entertained is like maybe at some point we'll have like a lore focused stream where maybe I'm doodling around in the game, but we're talking through lore more in more detail throughout the stream. I don't know. That's just something I've been thinking about. Uh, and let's see what else I got here. Oh, I do have some special treats for this is well, I'm getting way ahead of myself right now. For a little bit later on. At some point, again, this is going to be later on. I do want to talk about, and I don't know if these will be streams or if I'll just do some recordings and post those on YouTube. I want to talk about the comic books, and maybe spend some time with the official artwork book. So stick with me, and we'll get to those eventually. Obviously, tons and tons of like I don't know if you would call them spoilers exactly, but uh, we'll get to that later, and maybe even some special guests at some point as well. Um, but again, I'm getting way ahead of myself. How about we just start? How about we just start, Clem, the game? That's maybe a little outside my purview. I don't have I already had the books. I don't have the game. Nor do I think I have the space to store the game. But let me catch up on chat here real quick. Wait, is there a when you say TTRPG, you mean the board game, right? There's not like a role playing game, is there? I guess the board game kind of is a role playing game, right? Board game, yeah. Okay. Okay. TTRPG, like a more traditional role playing game would be fun too. Um, but yes, as far as the game itself, the video game, I'll be playing base game Old Hunters. I don't know. I've kind of entertained the idea of doing some Chalice Dungeon stuff. I've never done any Chalice Dungeon stuff. It's super important to the lore in a broad sense, but so maybe we'll dip into there a little bit. But I haven't really made my mind up about that, so we'll see. Um, let's um, but yeah, let's get started. I mean, and so the one other thing just before we jump into the game here is uh, one of the reasons that I wanted to do this as a streaming series is because I did want to like this goes back to what I was saying about the difference between like gameplay oriented series versus lore series. Um, One of the things that I don't necessarily there's a lot of so if you really want to do a deep dive on Bloodborne lore, there's tons and tons of great videos out there. Um, but the thing that I think you miss a little bit if you're not playing through the games, if you're just watching those lore videos, is because I experienced this myself. You miss some of the context of the different like tidbits of lore. Um, that you I mean obviously everything that the lore the theory crafters are talking about is embedded in the game somewhere, and that context doesn't always get isn't always like fronted to you, the viewer, when you're watching these lore videos. And so there's a lot of stuff that you're kind of just like taking somebody's word for. They've performed the analysis. They're presenting what they think. Maybe the better ones will present you with like more context, more competing theories, that kind of thing. But there's always a little bit of something that's lost when you're not the one who actually like kind of like saw the context in the game. And one of the reasons that I am kind of excited to do this on stream with everyone kind of like following along is like you'll see exactly where everything gets like the full context, the full gameplay context. And so when we talk in chat or whatever, however that happens, about like lore theory crafting or whatever, you're not you're not at that step removed from me that you would be if I was just, you know, doing my own theory crafting and presenting my analysis to you in that way. Like we can have an actual conversation about like, you know, well, we'll get into it. uh, but yeah, like I said, let's dive into the game here. All right. Let me know if I tried to fine tune the game audio level a little bit earlier, but let me know how it is, especially relative to my voice. It's kind of hard to do in isolation. All right, here we go. Yeah, Clem, Chalice Dungeons. I know there's not
pale blood. Well, you've come to the right place. Yharnam is the home of blood ministration. You need only unravel its mystery. But where's an outsider like yourself to begin? Easy, with a bit of Yharnam blood of your own. But first, you'll need a contract.
All right, game audio, come down a notch. Let's bring that down. It's like come down a notch or a couple notches, do you think, Clem? Blood Grandpa, yeah. Yeah, I will say, if you've played other FromSoft Souls games, you are probably used to you're probably used to just a touch. Okay, cool. You're probably used to getting kind of thrown into the action without a whole lot of preamble. I feel like Bloodborne takes that to its furthest extent. You are really just kind of tossed in there. I mean, you did get a couple things, I mean, it's easy to miss because it's like blink and you'll miss it, but like pale blood, let's just take a second to think about what that might be. You know, Yharnam blood, you're where, you know, yeah, well, we've got plenty of time. Enter name. Yeah, it could be Emily. Thanks for joining. Could be an Esmond girl to join. Yeah, you know what? Let's do it. L2. Oops. Oh, that was not the button I meant to press. Here we go. Oh, yes. Too mature. Okay, here we go. So right off the bat here, again, if you are familiar with other, if you're familiar with other Souls games, you might already notice that I feel like this stats list is a bit shorter than most, maybe even all other FromSoft Souls games. I really like that personally. We'll get into some more of the differences between this and some of the other Souls games later, but right off the bat, I feel like this is already a pretty solid stats list. Blood tinge, what is that? Who could say? All right. Ordinary, happy upbringing, all attributes average, milquetoast, lone survivor of a lost hamlet, high life essence and vigor. Troubled childhood, suffered misfortune in youth, highly resilient as a result. Violent past, terribly violent past. Rash, but stronger for it. Professional, born specialist, fit for sleuthing. What if you drop Nancy? I'm just sleuthing. What if you drop? I've been watching a lot of Nancy Drew videos. What if you just drop Nancy Drew into this game? Military veteran, experienced in war, a soldier with strength and skill, noble scion, scion to a respectable line with faith in your pedigree, cruel fate, faced terrible hardships, but now confident in your purpose, and waste of skin, a classic again of all FromSoft Souls games. You are nothing, talentless. You shouldn't have been born. I find it kind of interesting. There's cruel fate. That's not the worst. Waste of skin is the worst. Let's see what we're doing here. We want Clem is the Kirk hammer just strength, or is that strength and skill? Not that I have to worry about it that much, I guess, but mushroom. Strength primary, yeah. Okay, cool. Kirk hammer. Oh, hey, Stas. Oh, I forgot that they start you off with a handful of blood echoes. That's so interesting. So, again, going back to if you've played other Souls games, blood echoes are the require skill 2. Okay, cool. Blood echoes are the souls of this game. Is there any other FromSoft Souls games that starts you off with souls or runes? Yeah, I mean, I don't think you do, that I can recall. That's so weird. I wonder why that even is, because you don't even get the store. Nancy Drew. I have been really enjoying watching Nancy Drew videos as a way to kind of like wind down at the end of a day. Very chill. Lots of very funny voice acting in those games. Credit where credit is due. Okay, what am I doing here? 15 strength, violent past, okay. 14, 13, military veteran. Yeah, let's do military veteran. That looks good. Appearance, I don't want to spend like too long on this, I don't think. I forgot there were only 3 is there skin color? Classic, just kind of weird looking, weirdly proportioned Souls characters here. Any fan of the genre will be familiar with many of the goblins produced by these various games character creators. Let's do that. Where's hair color? Face details? Hair, facial hair, hair color. Here we go. Oh, come on. What do I want to do here? I don't want to create too too silly of a character. I kind of like that, actually. Yeah, let's go with that. Oh, nope. How do I make this save? Okay, yep, there we go. Okay. Tattoos. Oh, wait, hold on. Hold on. Here we go. Now this is that good Bloodborne shit right there. Look at that. Look at that. Can I zoom in here? There we go. Oh yeah, that's the stuff right there. Oh, what about this one? Wait, can I change the color? Oh, hold on. Color of the glasses. What do we got here? What does this change? The lens color? Yes. Okay. Okay. What do we want? I can't believe I just said I didn't want to make a, too comical looking character, and here we are. Here we are. Full of blood, yeah. Let's just see. Let's just see what this looks like. Oh my goodness. Okay. How about just a little green tint. A little bit of a green tint to him. Yeah. I think that looks pretty good. No. Oh, okay. All right. Oh, okay. So your problem wasn't that they were tinted green. Your problem was they weren't tinted enough. Okay. This is perfect. Yeah, I like that. What are the tattoos in this one? I can't even see that. Okay, none of these are speaking to me. All right. Pupils, doesn't matter. Oh, face presets, that's what I was looking for before. Okay. All right. I think that looks, actually, hold on. Let's look at hairstyles before we jump out of here. Where am I? Yeah, there we go. Zoom out a little bit. There we go. Braid. I've never gone with the braid because it just like sticks out at this weird angle. I can't remember if that's only in the character creator, and when like the actual game physics or whatever load, if it will act like an actual braider. Oh my god. Okay, wait, hold on. What if we did kind of like a Bride of Frankenstein almost look here? Oh goodness. What else we got? And then we get into some of the shorter hairstyles up here. This one is a perennial classic. This hairstyle right here. Willy Wonka ass, yeah. I don't know, y'all. I am kind of liking this. Bride of Frankenstein vibes a little bit. I mean, I do wish it was taller. That other one does have an undercut. You're right about that. I think I know I'm overriding the will of the chat here. Which you're not supposed to do as a streamer. Yharnam Marge Simpson. Yes, okay. Well, that pretty much seals it, I think. All right. There we go. There she is. Tilda Swinton, hold on. What Tilda Swinton performance? Oh man, I haven't seen her in anything in a second. I feel like, what has she been in anything last year or so? All right, I think I'm pretty happy with this. Let me just look at the stats again. Yeah, vitality 10, endurance 10, strength and skill. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna fuck around with blood tinge or arcane much this playthrough, so I'm not gonna sweat that too much. Installation at the MoMA. Sleep in a glass box. Well, that's kind of cool. All right. All right. Let's finalize and crucially, this is our contract. That's how character creation is framed in Bloodborne. So let's just review what we saw before character creation started. We saw some big-hatted blood grandpa um, mention pale blood, mention blood ministration, Yharnam blood. I think we got our first hint that we have some sort of unstated illness that we're trying to. That's why we're here. That's why we're seeking some sort of treatment that is ostensibly available in Yharnam. So let's jump back over here. Eternal Daughter. I need to watch that.
Good. All signed and sealed. Now, let's begin the transfusion. Oh, don't you worry. Whatever happens, you may think it all a mere bad dream.
Oh, I love barbecue chicken pizza. Uh-oh. That's not good. All right. Yeah, that's pretty normal. Sorry. No reason to fret. Uh-oh. What's going on here?
Ah, you found yourself a hunter.
Who's that? Mysterious feminine voice we haven't heard before. Interesting. Who could that be? All right, and here we are. Okay, well, hard part's over. Oh, wait, can we open this door? Ah, door does not open from the sides or side. Another perennial classic of the FromSoft oeuvre. Okay, we have a little shiny here. Let's see. Handwritten scrawl. Seek pale blood. Second mention of pale blood to transcend the hunt. Okay, transcend the hunt. Wonder what that could mean. All right. See if we got any interesting notes. Beware of liar. Okay. I get this one. There we go. Freaks of Madness. Yep. Pretty much par for the course. Mysterious noises. Ah, okay, so some tutorial hints. R1, right attack. What else we got around here? Yeah, lock on. Some more classics. Right, but it looks like we don't have any weapons. But we probably won't run into anything scary. They wouldn't do that to us. Oh. Lots of bloodstains. Alright, let's do this. Oh. lock on. Oh, where'd he go? Oh shit. Alright, come here. Oh, no. Here we go. Ooh, okay. Alright, good. I'm sorry, this is usually not the... Well, we'll get there. Oh, man. Oh, he didn't get me. I have one hit point left. Oh, I cannot take a hit like that again. Oh, shit. Oh, how did he miss me? I got so lucky. Yeah, there we go. Ooh, I was doing all right there. So, yeah. All right, game over. If you paid attention there, you might have seen if I hit the wolf. Yes, Sawyer. So, if I hit the wolf immediately, hold on. I'll explain later. Hunter's Dream. All right. Well, this is not where we were before. What's going on here? Got it. Sorry, you know. This is just good branding. I got to pose with the moon. All right. Yes, Sawyer, if you... it sounds like you were paying very close attention. In this game, there is a mechanic called Rally. It's never actually explained to you. It's never actually explained to you, as far as I know, in the game. But if you were paying very close attention, you would have noticed that every time I got hit, the little like white bar on my hit points, that indicator went down. But there's like a few seconds where my previous hit point total, yeah, exactly, my previous hit point total would have been there. If every time I hit an enemy until that bar goes all the way down, I recover a little bit of hit points, up to potentially you can recover the entire amount that you lost or will have lost. Again, it's called Rally, and it's like one of the primary mechanics in this game that like pushes you towards a very aggressive play style. Whereas in Dark Souls, if you've lost hit points, they're just gone. In this game, if you can maintain your cool and stay in the fight, you can potentially completely reverse a hit you just took. Yeah, let's take a quick look around here. Let's see what we got here. I think there's a little bit more tutorialization down here. Oh, okay, so they do... Okay, I forgot about this. They do explain it. Yes, so there you go. They don't name it Rally. Just Rally might actually be a community term more than an actual game term, but yeah, R1. Okay, so let's while we're here and we're reading these, let's talk about a few more differences between Bloodborne and the Dark Souls series. Demon Souls and Elden Ring are all pretty much the same, I think, in a lot of these like basic mechanics. Visceral attacks are one of the kind of the bigger things that are different. In Dark Souls, if you normal R1 attack behind an enemy, it automatically, if you're in the right position or whatever, it automatically triggers a critical hit animation and damage outcome of like maximum damage. That's not true in Bloodborne. So this is, but it's a little bit more complicated than just being behind them. If you just R1 attack, you'll see it says R1 when next to a staggered enemy. If you just R1 attack to an enemy's rear, it's just a normal attack. In order to stagger an enemy, there are a couple ways you can do that. One, you can do a fully charged R2 attack. So let me, I actually don't know if I, yeah. So that length of time, I'll just do it again. You have to do that charged R2 attack from behind to stagger them, and then you can do the R1 attack once they're staggered to do the visceral attack, which is the critical hit. And already with the Kirkhammer propaganda, listen, I already said it was going to be a Kirkhammer playthrough. We're going to see tons of Kirk. You don't have to be out here evangelizing. But basically what all that means is that, you know, you can't just circle strafe around an enemy and R1 once you're like, you know, position, like behind them in position. For the most part, if you're actively engaged with an enemy with the vast majority of weapons, you're never going to get a fully charged R2 to their back. Which means that you either just have to straight up fight them, or you can do the other way of staggering them, which is to parry them with the gun. Which is shortly we'll get a gun as a left-handed weapon. There's no well, I won't say there's no shield. There's not a great shield in the there's not a great shield in the game, or there sort of is in the DLC, but we'll get there. So really your only real option for parrying is to very carefully time a shot from the blunderbuss or the pistol or any of the other firearms. The left-handed weapons are mostly firearms, which means that like if you miss, it's not like when you kind of like, if you know, there's no shield there. You just you know, eat a hit. You eat a big hit if you miss. But if you hit at the exact right time, and I will do this later because there's some enemies that are really good to, or really, really good to practice parrying on. And unlike certain members of the chat, I do avail myself of the parry mechanic. If you nail it, it staggers them, and then you can do that R1 visceral attack, which is a lot of fun. There are, there you go. There are weapons. So the fully charged, there we go. Honestly, I kind of forgot how much of this is actually explicitly told to you. Transform, also, if you haven't played this game before, you might wonder, transform weapon? Transforming attack? What the hell is that? We will get there. Oh, but what was I about to say? I was about to say something. Oh yeah, some weapons do have, I think, shorter R2 charge times. I don't think they're all the same. Specifically, I think the Blades of Mercy have at least one of the fastest R2 charges, which makes them actually among the better weapons in the game. It's kind of a late game, or you know, depending on how you play it, it's more of a late game weapon, but amongst the better weapons to actually try to nail, you know, a rear R2 stagger in the middle of an active combat. Huh, I wonder what's going on here. An abandoned doll. Okay. Doesn't seem very important. Messengers. So I think this is the first time we are finding out, or putting any name to these guys. Messengers. These are the guys. If you'll remember, it looks familiar. These are the guys from the opening sequence, and they have gifts for us. Messengers offer you a trick weapon. Choose one. Trick weapons are wielded with the right hand and employed in beast hunting. Okay. All right. Display. Saw cleaver, one of the trick weapons of the workshop commonly used in the hunting business. This saw, effective at drawing the blood of beasts, transforms into a long cleaver that makes use of centrifugal force. Centrifugal? Is that? Whatever. The saw, with its set of bloodletting teeth, has become a symbol of the hunt and only grows in effectiveness the more grotesquely transformed the beast. Oh, God. Hunter Axe, one of the trick weapons of the workshop, blah, 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 retains the qualities of the axe, but offers a wider palette of attacks by transforming, boasts a heavy, blunt attack, leading to high rally potential. Okay, so rally is a game term. So, again, this is not super explained in the game, but high rally potential means that you get more hit points back during that like few seconds following taking a hit. No matter their pasts, beasts are no more than beasts. Duh. Some choose this axe to play the part of the executioner. Interesting, because we don't usually execute, beasts, simple animals. So why would one want to be an executioner? Or like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Threaded cane. One of the blah blah blah. Sufficiently deadly as a rigid bladed cane, but also serves as a whip when its blade is split into many. Concealing the weapon inside the cane and flogging the beasts with the whip is partly an act of ceremony, an attempt to demonstrate to oneself that the bloodlust of the hunt will never encroach upon the soul. Certainly not. No. I don't know. I mean, I usually just go with the saw cleaver. Yeah, Slender again. What is a beast? I wonder. Don't worry. Yeah, I've never used the cane. I'm just gonna go with saw cleaver. And I think we have another gift here. Yeah, for you a firearm. Yeah, so we either get Hunter Pistol. Hunter firearms are specially crafted to employ quicksilver bullets fused with the wielder's own blood, boosting damage against beasts. The pistol is a quicker draw than the blunderbuss, allowing for speedier responses to attacks. And the Hunter blunderbuss. The impact of this highly effective weapon counters beasts' swift movements, and its widespread is nigh on guaranteed to hit the mark. I almost always choose the pistol just because it's faster. I have heard... I think I will probably choose the pistol. Something that I hadn't really considered about the blunderbuss is that because it is kind of a spread, it makes it easier to hit like faster opponents. I don't want to say too much about that yet, but that's interesting. I hadn't really thought about that before. But let's go with the pistol. Is there a tube that goes from your body to the gun? I don't think anything quite so sophisticated. All right, let's go ahead and equip our new items. I don't think you start with anything, but yeah, Hunter's Mark. Actually, let's read the lore for Hunter's Mark. Dangling upside-down rune etched into one's mind, symbol of a hunter. By focusing one's thoughts on this rune, a hunter loses all blood echoes but awakens afresh, as if it were all just a bad dream. Hell yeah, dude, I love Berserk, yep. Okay. Yeah, so let's just dick around for a second. This is partially for my own benefit, so I can get a feel for the controls again. So I have played this game before. It's been kind of a while. I want to say it's been like a couple years at this point since the last time I played this game. I have never beaten this game, interestingly enough. It's kind of one of those games that, like, I don't know if anybody else does this, but sometimes I'll like avoid finishing a game even though I'm like really close to the end, just because I enjoy it so much and I don't want to stop playing it. And that's kind of what happened. I feel like last time I was getting close to finishing Bloodborne. So let's find out. We're hearing all this talk of transforming trick weapons. Let's press L1 and find out what that's all about. So here's the thing about weapons in Bloodborne is every weapon is actually 2 weapons. That's the secret about Bloodborne. And it's amazing. It's great. I want to say there are like significantly fewer weapons over, like, as far as like individual unique weapons. But because they're all 2 weapons and because they all feel like there are some weapons that are like similar, like there's the saw cleaver and the saw spear, which are both kind of similar, but like for the most part they're all pretty distinct, and it's like really cool. It's really cool to like to have all like one of the issues that I have with Dark Souls and Demon Souls and some of the other Souls games is like there's kind of a lot of weapons that are like very similar, and you also kind of get locked into like one specific weapon by like necessarily by like just investing resources into upgrading it. Bloodborne kind of gives you the best of both worlds, because you get with every single weapon you get a lighter attack. Obviously you have R2 attacks, which are heavier, and then you have a whole second set of attacks with the transformed version. And some of them get pretty wild. Like we'll see some of these moving forward, but like this isn't even like you ain't seen nothing yet, basically. Notebook, yeah, so we can leave messages to actually again let's just look at this. Messengers are inhabitants of the dream world who revere the brave hunter. Use them to send messages to other worlds. Leave notes with messengers. Read the notes left to messengers in other worlds, and rate notes to reach out to hunters across planes of existence. Yeah, so we're kind of learning that these messengers are these like extraplanar or interplanar creatures that seem to want to help us. They're denizens, it seems, of this. So, and we're also kind of learning that maybe this is the dream realm. I mean, it's called Hunter's Dream. We're being told that denizens of the dream are giving us presents. Much more to learn here, and then we have this guy taking a bath. All right, some basic stuff off the bat. Blood vial. First we're hearing of this. Let's read this. Once a patient has had their blood ministered, a unique but common treatment in Yharnam, successive infusions recall the first, and are all the more invigorating for it. No surprise that most Yharnamites are heavy users of blood. An interesting detail of this that I actually forgot is that it sounds like these Yharnam blood vials don't do anything until the first time you've had your blood ministered, which is an interesting detail that I had forgotten actually. It's Pepsi, yeah. But we actually don't have any blood vials. Well, we don't have any blood vials. We don't have any blood vials. We don't have any blood echoes. And you'll notice, so in the upper right hand corner there, that top symbol next to the top line, which is next to the hunter's mark symbol, that's going to be our blood echoes. There's another line right below that though, also at 0. So that's interesting. Okay, I think we're pretty much done here. Now that we got our hunter's weapons, let's get the hell out of here. First floor sick room. They're just little guys, yeah. I mean, they are little guys, yeah. You can dress them up. I just want to help. Here we go. Alright. Enough of this tomfoolery. There we go. Beware the church. Interesting. Actually, hold on. Let's turn around real quick. Oh, I almost. Nope. Matthew Spectre. Search corpse. There we go. Blood vial. Our first blood vials. Oh, and you don't need to equip them in this game because there's a dedicated heal button. Another of the differences between Bloodborne and most of the other Souls games is that instead of Estus, you have blood vials, which are consumable items. I won't get into that too much right now. Blood vials are drops, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, talk. And not just a fixed amount, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep, so once you use them, they're gone. Unlike Estus, yeah, they don't come back. I might have a special guest on at some point so we can discuss this definitely not contentious issue. All right, let's see. Let's talk to whoever's behind this door. Could it be that mysterious gentleman we saw at the very beginning of the game?
Are you out on the hunt?
I don't think so.
Then I'm very sorry, but I cannot open this door. I am Yosefka. The patients here in my clinic must not be exposed to infection. I know that you hunt for us, for our town, but I'm sorry. Please. This is all that I can do.
Oops. Accidentally hit the wrong... Ooh, sorry, Yosefka. That's my bad.
Go. And good hunting.
Oops. Oops. That was a mistake. Alright, we got Yosefka's blood vial. Let's... Can't remember if these have any from the lady doctor at Yosefka's clinic. This refined blood, highly invigorating, restores a larger amount of HP. This rare blood vial is a product of a slow and careful refinement process, likely devised by the doctor herself. Makes sense. Let's slap that in my quick items.
Are you still in need of something?
No.
But I have nothing more to offer.
Okay. Just
Please,
check in.
Try to understand my position.
Yeah, no, I know.
I can only pray for a fruitful hunt.
Oh, oops. I think you should be permitted to say fuck now. I didn't spend too much time fiddling with my all right, Yosefka. Sorry. I didn't spend too much time fiddling with my like auto mod settings or whatever, so I think this is just like the Right, great. I think this is just the default, but I should probably also add 2 more blood vials. Make this a mature. Sawyer. I'm not going to let that one through. Automod says, held message for reason, sex-based terms. Time for blood. I'm gonna rate that one fine, because you know what? It is time for blood. Oh. I thought I heard someone shambling. Closed by a device? What is this? What is this? Quicksilver bullets. Gonna need lots of those for all the parries I'm gonna do. Oh, fuckers is different than fuck, apparently. I am enjoying that all of your twisted minds basically went to the same, I think you should leave skit, or sketch. Are skit and sketch the same thing, basically? Well, that didn't look like a beast. That just looked like a guy. That just looked like a dang guy. What's going on here? More blood vials. It is just... Let's get us a sketch for little babies. Okay, well, that clears it up. Oop. Molotov cocktails. All right, let's just take all this in. The beautiful vistas of Central Yharnam. Actually, hold on. This is locked right now, right? Closed by a device. Absolute bullshit. Excuse? Sorry, what was that? I hate when a door is closed by a device. Yeah, me too. Something deep inside me. Something deep inside me cries out to open all those doors. This lamp now transports you back to the hunter's dream. Upon death, you will awaken at this lamp. And there's our little buddies. They seem to be praying to the lamp. It's weird. So this is something that I've seen a lot of people. There are a couple rough spots early on in Bloodborne. One of them is that it's not totally clearly spelled out to you that any door or window with this specific color of lamp outside, yeah, exactly, is it's pretty easy to miss, turns out. So, but if you walk by it, you'll see this talk prompt.
Oh, you must be a hunter, and not one from around here either. I'm Gilbert, a fellow outsider. You must have had a fine time of it. Yharnam has a special way of treating guests. Well, I don't think I could stand if I wanted to, but I'm willing to help if there's anything that can be done. This town is cursed. Whatever your reasons might be, you should plan a swift exit.
Not gonna happen, my
Whatever can
friend.
be gained from this place, it will do more harm than good.
Gilbert, does not sound like he's doing so good in there, does he?
Pale blood, you say? Never heard of it. But if it's blood you're interested in, you should try the Healing Church. The church controls all knowledge on blood ministration and all varieties of blood.
All varieties
Across the
of
valley
blood.
to the east of Yharnam lies the town of the Healing Church, known as the Cathedral Ward. And deep within Cathedral Ward is the old Grand Cathedral,
Sure.
the birthplace of the Healing Church's special blood. Or so they say. Yharnamites don't share much with outsiders. Normally they wouldn't let you near the place, but the hunt is on tonight. This might be your chance.
Hunt is on tonight, huh?
Across the valley to the east of Yharnam, you'll find that deep within lies the... I haven't heard of pale blood, but that's your best bet if it's...
You feel better, Gilbert. You feel better, buddy. So apparently pale blood is something that maybe not everybody has heard of. Although Gilbert is also an outsider like us. So, you know, who knows? Let's try this out. Ooh, oh, he got me. Oh. Thought he was still up for a second. Okay. Looks like heck of a situation down there happening. Not worry about that just yet. These why are these guys 8 feet tall? I think I'm just short, maybe. Look at this pathetic mother behind a shield. You know what I have to say about that? Oh, well, that's what I have to say about that. Everyone's very lanky. Yeah. Yep. Or nutrition. Time for courage, yeah. I wonder what I'll need courage for. Is it these million guys down here? So we were just given... What were we just given? We were just given... Pebbles. Small pebbles found throughout Yharnam can be thrown at foes. Quite thrilling. Is there anyone behind me? No. Okay. Actually, hold on. Before we do all that, let's just mosey on down here real quick. Come on. No, not View Spectre. Operate device. There we go. There we go. Remember remember that door we couldn't open before? It's like the least useful shortcut in the game. Should I give it a shot? What do you guys think? It looks pretty tough. So that's the power of the parry. Oh, he got me. He got me. There we go. That's how parry works. That's how parrying works. This guy didn't know how to parry, and that's why he died. Yeah, so the gun is the parry. Yeah, so basically you want to it mechanically works almost exactly the way a shield parry works in other Souls games, but instead of a shield, it's a gun. So that's what makes it different. So I feel like, I kind of talked a little bit about how this game has kind of like one of the more, actually, hold on, let's just take a look at what we got going. Oh, I caught on fire. I caught on fire. One of the like more perfunctory or like, you know, ruder openings than that's a blood vial right there. This whole section right here is kind of part of that, in the sense that you're really given, I mean, you saw pretty much everything, all the direction I'm gonna get at the beginning of this game. You just saw it pretty much. We have very little kind of like, very little understanding of what this world is or like what's going on. We're told it's the night of the hunt and that there's beasts about, but all we see are these townsfolk patrolling, and they all seem to hate us. I mean, this is the closest we've seen to a. Well, that's not true. We did see go ring the bell. We did see the werewolf or whatever that was, but we're not seeing any more of those, you know, yet so far at least. And we're just confronted with this big area filled with enemies, and again, like very little direction. Like, yeah. Like, I mean, you joke, Sawyer, but like in Dark Souls, I mean, you're not given tons of direction, but you are told, go ring the bell. In this game, it's like, okay, I got to go look for some cathedral somewhere. Where the hell is that? So I think a lot of people might bounce kind of early in this game just because like you're confronted by a lot of enemies right off the bat, not a whole lot of direction. If you're not into it, it's really easy to kind of like bounce off it right here, essentially.
Are you that outsider? Well, sorry, but I don't want anything to do with you. Trot along, will ya?
No one wants to talk.
Are you that outsider?
Except for good old Gilbert.
Well, sorry, but I don't want anything to do with you.
All right, well, fuck off then.
Trot along, will ya?
Where'd that huge crowd of people go? There's always like a split oh, there's always like a split second before they've gone down that I'm like, do they have one hit point? These guys suck. Come here. There's a degree to which like this is gonna be the like least honest part. Oh my god. Like the least, not honest, but like the least truthful to like how like the early, like how this game actually unfolds. This is probably gonna be like the least true to the game because I've done this part several times. I know pretty much exactly where to go and what to do. This game can be this section can be very, very overwhelming the first time you come through here. And like, you know, it's not uncommon for Souls games to have like a pretty overwhelming opening section. But this is probably one of the most intense. if you want to watch, I mean, this is people who know me will not be surprised that I'm recommending this. If you want to watch a good blind playthrough of this game, the Waypoint. Get over here, come on. The Waypoint Big Boy Season series from, I think that was mostly 2018. Now, whoa! Come on. Give me a freaking break! The Waypoint Big Boy Season series from like 2018 is pretty solid as far as you know, a blind. So the thing that makes that an interesting series is that it's Natalie Watson in the driver's seat, but then it's also for most of it Austin Walker and Danielle Riendeau kind of like coaching. And it's just a really good series. But I mean, so back to what I was talking about how like, you know, I've played this game a few times, and this is going to be a lot smoother than like a genuine first time playthrough. Like you're seeing me like, even with like, you know, being pretty good at this game and knowing more or less what's up, you're seeing me get a little bit like cornered and overwhelmed even still at certain points. And I mean, I'm not trying to artificially do that. That's just happening. So like, kind of imagine like how bad it can get for if you really don't know what's up.
Lads, you've come on. You'd open the door on a night of a hunt. Away with you, now.
All these rude ass people. And then you turn the corner and you see this. So that's fun. Oh, I didn't think I aggroed him yet. Okay, what's the play here? Oh, got on the geometry. Oh, okay. Oh, who just shot? Did he? No, it was the one on the ground. Okay. All right, come on. Where's the? Yep. Oh, I'm stuck. You stop that. You cut it out. Oh, that was not the right way to go. Oh, where's the dog? Oh. Wait, did he just jump into the fire? Oh my gosh. Okay, get over here. Oh, you got me. You got me. Alright, get over here. Stop that. Oh, that was a shit show. Ooh, oh. How he didn't hit me. Is there one more person around here? Yeah, two. Oh, okay. Three. Okay. Okay, holy crap. Yeah, so there's just a ton of guys around here. Cold blood dew. Droplet of cold blood containing blood echoes used to gain blood echoes. Hunters sustained by the dream gain strength from blood echoes. They imbibe the blood with thoughts of reverence, indeed gratitude, for the victims. So that's your soul's item in this game. Cold blood. That dog ain't right. Yeah. So I should have started this game by saying this is a horror game. There's going to be some blood. There's going to be some guts. And there's going to be a whole lot of critters that something just ain't right. Wonder what's on the other side of the door. There's gonna be a whole lot of critters where there's just something just ain't right. You're gonna see a lot of that moving forward, unfortunately. Can you get this item from this side? No, you can't. Okay, never mind. Is that everything? Let's just run around. Oop, did I miss? No, that was just a note. Okay. I am doing my best to keep up with chat. That's going to be the hardest thing for me streaming is keeping an eye on the chat. I just a very exciting discovery that I made this past weekend is you can increase the font size of the chat. So I've maximized that, which has improved the situation quite a bit. But it's still going to be yeah, actually that thank you. Let me rate this actually, because that reminds me. Let's look at this. Okay, so there are beasts. It turns out there are beasts, but they're all dead, and the things that are attacking us are the townsfolk, seemingly. So, what the heck? The frick? I thought there was a third. Let's not. I thought there was another person you could. Oh wait, no. Maybe I'm thinking of. This lantern over here. Doop, doop, doop.
I don't reckon you're from round here. Well, stuck outside on a night of the hunt. Oh, you poor, poor thing.
Yeah, so far everyone we've seen has kind of like confronted the night of the hunt with a sort of solemn or maybe even grim reverence. Turns out that some people take a sense of joy or it's just a party to them. It's like it's like one of my personal favorite films, The Purge. Purge Night. Ever seen any fans of that? Oh God. Bloodborne does continue the grand tradition of birds, just random birds being some of the most fearsome enemies in the game. These freaking Yharnam crows. Tell you what. Oil urn. Ooh. Never noticed this before. You hear that like little musical tinkling? You'll also, you know, I haven't been remarking upon this up until this point, but you'll notice an awful lot of chained up coffins lining the streets, you know, in addition to all the, you know, burning bodies and pyres and all that stuff. A lot of macabre sort of stuff going on here. So, what's going on with that? Let's see if I can. So if I can sneak up on this guy, I'll try to do the rear R2 attack. Oh, nope. Not gonna happen. Oh, got him. Ooh. Ouchie. Okay. Oh, why am I pressing that does that? I think the L2 on this controller is just really sensitive. Torch and Molotov cocktails. Yeah, Alan Brickman's, yep. Oh, did I aggro someone? No, okay. And here we are, more Cold Blood 2. Yummy. You'll also note that we have not encountered a method of leveling up just yet. So I have 2700. Oh, goes by device. Yeah. So we have someone we can talk to on the other side. I have 2700. 100 blood echoes at the moment. I can spend them at the store. Oh, come on. Oh, there we go. Okay. But I can't level up just yet. Oh, ooh, he missed me somehow. No, it's just a no. Okay. Kept thinking that there was like a... Oh, there's another dog. There's another dog. Okay. Oh, I'm not gonna be able to separate. Oh, well, that last swipe catches me off guard. You almost got me with that one. Yes. So Sawyer, yeah, this is one of the things that I personally. So let me give you a little bit of like, you know, personal backstory for me and the Souls games and just like, you know. I don't want to call them like difficult games, but like they're, you know, this type of like what do we want to call these games? And I'm talking like beyond just like Souls games. Obviously, we have a term for that, but like there's like a class, there's like a superset of like Souls games and other games that are hard in a particular way, in that they're like very demanding. In the sense of like real games, yeah. They're very demanding in the sense that like they demand a very precise, you know, approach to just controlling the action of the game. You know, it's a very proactive, engaged stance towards play, where it's like, you know, I mean, the thing that I always kind of like think about in terms of Souls games specifically, again, that I really like is, you know, even if you're relatively late into a playthrough, you know, low-level enemies can still kill you at the end of a Bloodborne run, at the end of a Dark Souls run. If you are not paying attention, if you know, it's easy to just like run around carefree and get cornered, by a mob of enemies, and even if you're like relatively late in your playthrough, you know, it's still totally possible to get overwhelmed and killed. And it's just a matter of like, you know, it's a level of engagement that you have to maintain that is not present is not present in a lot of games. Not that and again, you know, not that I think that makes these games better than any other type of game, but you know, it's just a different, like God of War, yeah. Like not to talk too much shit about God of War, but like that is kind of like my perennial, you know, example of like, you know, an alternate style of play where it's like you're playing the game. It's not like it's on autopilot or anything, but like when you're playing God of War, do things like, you know, exact positioning and, you know, light attack versus strong attack, moment to moment, do these things really matter in the same kind of way that they do in Bloodborne or Dark Souls or Sekiro on the extreme end? Not really. Like, you know, a light attack versus heavy attack or whatever in those games, it's just a different animation and maybe some, you know, maybe there's some mechanical stuff on the back end, but like, you know, it's just it's a very different approach to like what all these things mean and the type of experience that they generate. I kind of just like autopiloted my way back here. So this is a really easy to miss little corner of the game. So you'll note I came down here. There's like kind of not a whole lot going on here. There's like a little treasure over here if you're being very curious. This, you know, vista opens back up on that big pavilion where we're just at. The item that I just picked up over here and kind of like destroyed some boxes, I think is like kind of supposed to be your hint that like, oh, maybe you should be destroying boxes and looking at what's behind them. And then you come over here at the end of this dark little alleyway, and behind a bunch of boxes that you can destroy, what's going on down here? Well, will you look at that? Take a step forward. That's what's up. Oh, I didn't have to jump. Good. I forgot where I was going with all that. But where I was going with that actually was there's like Celeste is the other, like, oh, I should have climbed down right there, huh? Oh, there's a platform right here. Okay, cool. Celeste is another game. I'm thinking about that because I just recommended it to Britt. Did that guy just jump off? I'm getting a lot of, this is so funny, I'm getting a lot of enemies just doing silly stuff, jumping off of ledges and jumping into fires and whatnot, that I feel like I've never seen before in this game. I don't know what's going on. But like Celeste is obviously not a Souls-like game, but it is difficult in a lot of the same ways as a Souls game. Patrick Klepek compares Souls games to rhythm games, which I think is another, like, those are obvious. Oh, okay. Oh no. Oh, all right. Sorry, game time. Thoughts have to stop for a moment. Oh. Yeah, okay. Sure. Pervert shit. Yeah, okay. So what did I do wrong there? I should not have been dodging around so aggressively on that little ledge. Or what I really should have done is not been locked on and just dodge rolled past, rather than I was locked on and I did a sidestep and that threw me off the ledge. I should have been unlocked in that situation. Shouldn't have fallen into the rat hole. Yeah, that's right. Oh, it's that swipe every time almost gets me. What the heck was I saying? Yeah, Patrick has talked about rhythm games as being like, you know, in the same kind of spirit as Souls games in a lot of ways. which I think is a good, or like an interesting. You know what? I'm gonna do something silly here. Oh! I made a mistake. All of which is to say, that's just how it be sometimes. What was I saying? Yeah, so there's like again, the point I was trying to make while the denizens of Yharnam so rudely killed me, is there's just like a lot of games that require that kind of like precise control beyond Souls game. I feel like Souls games get like a really like specifically get kind of like a bad rap in a lot of ways for being difficult in that particular way. And I do get where some of that comes from in terms of just like, okay, let's just try being smart. Let's just give that a shot. I do get why, you know, people who aren't into Souls game difficulty aren't into it, and maybe they are into games with like, you know, that are similar in some ways, in the ways that we're talking about. They might be into rhythm games. They might be into any number of other games that have like a really oh, hey Britt. How's it going? We're just talking gamer theories. Yeah, I get why. Oh my God, there's just so many of them. This part I can run past, I think. So this specifically is the part that I think a lot of people encounter and like give up on, which is like, okay, I made it through that whole big gauntlet once. Do I have any stragglers? No, okay. I made it through that whole big goddamn gauntlet once, and now you're telling me I gotta make it through there every single time, every single freaking time. And they just kind of give up because it's like, I ain't doing that shit every single time. Ooh. There we go. But yeah, I just remember the reason I've been rambling on about all this stuff is because like I have a very specific origin story as far as like what got me into this style of like very precise game originally, which is that you know, for a long time I tried Dark Souls. I tried playing Dark Souls several times. I want to say about 10 years ago. Ooh, oh man. And just like couldn't get into it. And I think like part of it was, oh my God, what? It was not fair. I think part of it, yeah, come on. I cannot get that one down. Okay, eat shit. Oh, oh, okay. All right, get it together. Oh my goodness, okay. You want me to give me 1 second. 1 second. Where's that dog? Get over here. Are you through? And yeah, I just like couldn't really get into Dark Souls, and I think part of it is that it's just like it's much slower paced. there's like a lot more going on in that game mechanically in some way. Wait, wasn't there another guy here a second ago? There's a lot more going on mechanically. Like you'll notice that like basically, I mean, none of the starting classes or whatever in this game were cleric. None of them were sorcerer. There is, you know, very, very light spoiler. There is magic later in this game, but it's like, it's so far. Was there not another guy? I was sure there was another guy over here. Whatever. We're actually not going to do that right now. Oh, I forgot that these guys are like 1,000,000 times stronger than the other one. Oh, that's what an unsuccessful parry attempt looks like. Oh, and there's another one. Oh, and I died. Okay. Yeah, they're much stronger. Much stronger than the first one. And basically after bouncing off of Dark Souls like twice, or maybe even 3 times, like literally making it as far as like Firelink, I think. Still no level up. Yep. Weird. Basically making it as far as Firelink, I think. Before being like on like the furthest I got in those early attempts. We're actually gonna skip that. Does he follow me down? No, okay. I basically like wrote off Souls games and like most other games that like, if the conversation around a game was like, oh, it's hard, I basically wrote it off because I was like, well, I don't want to do all that. And it wasn't until, so in 2018, at the beginning of that year, I played Celeste and I played Hollow Knight. Items. Oh, there's people coming. Okay. Alright, fuck off. Oh, I didn't see the spear guy, or the, okay, we're running. We're running. Oh. Oh, there's people coming. I basically wrote off, oh, he's gonna shoot me. I'm gonna die. Serpentine. There we go. Okay. Basically wrote off Souls games, like I said, Souls games and like most other like hard games, you know, quote unquote hard games. Top off there. Until I played Celeste and Hollow Knight at the beginning of 2018. And those games like kind of like opened my eyes to like, you know, a game can be hard and forgiving at the same time, oddly, in a, you know, in a kind of weird way. Celeste especially, more so than Hollow Knight, kind of like was kind of my like the game that kind of like got me to reassess some stuff. Come on. And like after that, that's when I, you know, the Waypoint series that I mentioned earlier. That's when I also watched that for the first time. Oh, he's gonna. Can I do this? Oh. Oh, that was effective. Okay. He has my souls. Okay. My echoes, sorry. I watched Big Boy Season, or the Waypoint series, and I was like, okay, this looks. I obviously I can see the overlap. Oh, come on. I can see the overlap. Whoa, you got me again. And there's dog. Oh, man. There Okay. Situation under control. Ooh, boy. And I was like, okay, I can see how this is similar to Dark Souls. It has all the stuff that I kind of like about the stuff that I liked about that experience. But it's faster paced. It's got some other cool stuff going on. You know, I like the aesthetic. Let's give this a shot. And so yeah. Oh, he's gonna follow me. Yep. Does he follow me down here? Yep. Okay. Everyone just fuck off. There we go. Okay. Yeah. You eat shit. Oh yeah. Oh, he still got me. And lo and behold, I got Bloodborne, and I played Bloodborne, and I was like, wow, okay. I am way more into this game than I was Dark Souls. And this is like another thing that people talk about. You know, people who get like really into Bloodborne talk about it as being eat dick. There we go. Excuse my language. What was I saying? Grandpa. People who like get really into Bloodborne and Souls games in general talk about Bloodborne as being like as kind of like a game that like teaches you how to play Souls games. And I think some of those claims are maybe like a little overblown, because I've definitely seen, you know, I've watched Let's Plays of Bloodborne where people pretty much play Bloodborne the way you would play, more or less the way you would play Dark Souls if you didn't have a shield, which is just like really cautiously and you know, just like tiptoeing around. We got a little shiny note over here. This is our second little shiny note. When the hunt began, the Healing Church abandoned us, blocking the Great Bridge to the Cathedral Ward, as they burned old Yharnam to the ground on that moonlit night. That's ominous. It's not open from the side, sure. Yep. Okay. I think some of those claims are overblown, but there's some truth to that, in the sense that like, pretty much all Souls games feel better when you play them with a pretty aggressive, you know, play style. I wouldn't go so far as to say, I mean, some people say like, I would go so far as to say like most people, and look where we are. We're all the way back to the beginning. Well, sort of near the beginning. Yeah. Clem says Bloodborne's most important lesson is dodge in rather than away. Yeah. It teaches you like a number of very important lessons. Fully utilizing the dodge is like a big one. Not just turtling behind a shield. I wouldn't go so far as to say that like using a shield is like the wrong way to play one of the Clockwork World. Yeah, if you liked the interconnected world of Dark Souls 1, strap in, my friends. I wouldn't go so far. Let's go back to the Hunter stream. I wouldn't go so far as to say like, you know, using a shield is like the wrong way to play Dark Souls, because I mean, especially one of my big gripes about One of my big gripes about Dark Souls 3 is sometimes it feels like you have to, you know, it's certain parts of that game specifically are very difficult. Oh, look at that. We couldn't open that door before. Let's just mosey on up here. See what's up. Oh. Hello. Hey there.
Aha. You must be the new hunter. Welcome to the hunter's dream. This will be your home for now.
Pretty sweet.
I am Gammon, friend to you hunters. You're sure to be in a fine haze about now, but don't think too hard about all of this. Just go out and kill a few beasts. It's for your own good. You know, it's just what hunters do. You'll get used to it.
Just that classic Bloodborne stuff right there.
This was once a safe haven for hunters. A workshop where hunters used blood to enhance their weapons and flesh. We don't have as many tools as we once did, but you're welcome to use whatever you find. Even the dog, should it please you.
Yeah, so, spoiler alert, this guy's vibes are off.
This was once a safe haven for hunters. A workshop where hunters used blood to enhance their weapons.
Yeah, buddy. I've heard it all before. I forget. So yeah, this is storage. Okay, I actually forgot that the books all get fucked up. Oh, workshop. Here we go. Oh, so okay, we can do this. Okay. Bloodstone Shard, which we have some of those. Okay, yeah, let's yeah, why not? We've got all these dang echoes. Might as well use some of them. Okay, so we need 4 more for our next upgrade. Memory altar, the workshop tool required for this task, is missing. So I guess we don't have the tool we need to do memories. Another shiny little note. To escape this dreadful hunter's dream, halt the source of the spreading scourge of beasts, lest the night carry on forever. So yeah, there's some implication that, is there anything else in here? I don't think so, not right now anyway. There's some implication that this path appears linked to the nightmare. There are no messengers. Okay. There's some implication already, I think, that like, you know, there's some weird time stuff happening. You know, the night might go on forever. Whether that's just for us or for everyone, you know, unknown. Still just an abandoned doll. Supposedly we can do whatever we want with it, but it doesn't look like there's much to do. Good on blood vials. Oh, we're actually doing pretty good on Molotovs too. Okay. Yeah, not a whole lot to do with that. Let me check my time here actually. Yeah, we've been going for, let's go, I was trying to keep this to around 2 hours. Actually, maybe this is a good stopping point for the first one. Just got back to the dream, just talked to Gehrman for the first time. yeah, I think I'll call it around here. Hunter stream doesn't seem so bad. I mean, it's pretty sweet. Look around. Big old moon. Cool little workshop. Gravestones. What's not to like? But yeah, I think I think doll. Yeah, no complaints here. Yeah, let's call it here. Yeah, we're closing in on 2 hours, and I didn't want to go too much longer, and I don't think I was, gonna try to see if we could see the first boss, but there's still lots more Central Yharnam to see. You got like a tiny little peek at the first little part of the sewers, or one part of the sewers. That's the whole thing. Free moon, free doll to kill you. Ooh. So yeah, hopefully this has whetted your appetite for more Bloodborne. There's so much more to see. This game is so good. Just getting back into it just this little bit has been so much fun. But yeah, like I said at the beginning of the stream, I've got a lot more in store for this series that I'm trying to like. Man, the auto mod, I'm gonna have to go through and like I wonder if there's a list of it keeps wanting to catch like pervert and like fuck, which I don't think is necessary. Maybe it is, I don't know. As long as it's just us in here, I think it's fine. Can you all hear me if I would? My neighbor, and so I will say before we log off, my neighbors are not loud people most of the time, but it does come through okay. but my current yeah, let's go to the big mode. But my let's just go straight to the there we go. But there's not a whole lot of like sound dampening between like the unit above me and my unit, so I was a little bit worried. I can hear them walking around up there. I don't think you all can. Is that true, Emily? Nah. Okay. Good. Okay. Perfect. I didn't think so, but that's good to know. God, that was so much fun. Okay. Yeah. I think that's all. Let me check my notes actually before we fully jump off here. Yeah, we still have no clue what pale blood is, and you know what? Maybe we'll never know. Let me pull up my there we go. Okay. Thanks to everyone for coming out. It's been so much fun. I tried, like I said before, I tried to keep up with chat. It's I mean, Clem, you were right. Like that is truly kind of the hardest part of this, is like keeping one eye on the game and one eye on chat is tough. I'll try to get better at that. I did my best. But hopefully it was hopefully it was still a good time. I think so this is going to be obviously this is going to be a weekly stream, every Monday, unless I yeah. So I do my internet here has been pretty good most of the time, but there's been one instance where it got really slow. Nowhere near as bad as my last place, but if that happens, obviously I'll have to cancel the stream. I'm still looking into the one technical detail of my setup is I know it's possible to stream at a lower resolution than you're recording at. I want to make sure I record at 1080 so that I can get that on YouTube for the VOD later, and all these will end up on YouTube too. Actually, let me do the streamer thing. Follow me on Twitch to get and hit that go live notification button so that you don't miss any of the exciting Mensis Monday action, hop over, hit the bell, hop over to YouTube. All my VODs are going to go up on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment, because why not? I keep allowing it's perverts. I feel like I've allowed pervert like 3 friggin' times. Anyway. So what I was saying is, this is going to be a weekly stream every Monday. I'm toying. I don't think I'll do this right off the bat. I'm toying with the idea of doing a Saturday morning stream that doesn't go on YouTube. It's just a hangout stream, basically. I'll let you all know beforehand if I end up wanting to do that. I don't think that'll be like this weekend or anything, but something I'm thinking about. And I mean, so speaking of Cronenberg gamers, one of the other fun things you can do on Twitch, which I'm pretty sure you all are aware of, is you can watch a movie from, I think it's like Amazon Prime's streaming library, and like host the movie. I've also been thinking about that, which I think could be a lot of fun. I have a lot of things I'm thinking about. I'll let you all know. But again, thank you so much for coming out. It's been a lot of fun already, and I couldn't be more excited to keep going. So and before I log off here, I'm all of my card music is Stevia Sphere, used with Creative Commons attribution, licensed via CC attribution. But you should check out their music on Bandcamp. It's all available there. Very, very cool, chill vibes music. I think that's it. All right. Thanks, gamers.